Wizards of the Coast has gone and loaded up Thunder Junction with all kinds of amazing spoilers. They've given us all kinds of special guests, special treatments, everything that is special to get the players to open their wallets and buy this product. But in today's video, we are going to go over many of the reasons why you should not be buying the Outlaws of Thunder Junction. It's time to sit down and think of this rationally before you start opening your wallet. Did they get you? Are you pumped? Are you excited? Did they do enough to make you, as a player, go in there and spend some money? Welcome back, everyone. MTG Moxman here. Thanks again for hanging out with me on my channel today as we take a look at the Outlaws of Thunder Junction. Honestly, I'm not wearing a cowboy hat. I'm not putting on the spurs and the boots, although that can be a cool look on some people. We're here to talk about a serious thing, which is your money, your wallet, and the product, the offering from Wizards of the Coast. Now, when we take a look at Thunder Junction, I'm not sure if you saw the spoilers, the story, and everything they're putting together. I cannot believe how watered down Magic has become, at least for me as a player. That's a personal opinion. That's an aside. When they talk about Rakdos beating people up. No, it's torturing people to death. Anyway, off topic already. I'm a little bit riled up by some of the things they mentioned in the story versus some of the imagery. But honestly, when I took a look at the cards, many of them look pretty awesome. Near the end of this video, I will have a section going over a whole bunch of the spoilers, and particularly spoilers that interest me as a player. Things I like to look for as an MTG finance guy. I'm going to tell you why I'm looking at them or why I'm not. Whether I would use them for a commander type thing later in life or maybe a standard thing. I will explain it later. But let's get down to the money. Let's get down to the cash, because that's what matters in the end. It's not the fun of the game. No. It's how much money we have to spend to have that fun at the game. I know you proxy players are going to leave some wicked comments right now, but that's beside the point. So, we got these spoilers, and we saw things like the special treatment mana drain. I got emails right away. Look, they put mana drain. They put raised. It's only found in a collector box. I get it. They are doing everything they can because they need you to spend money. But the real issue is, for a player, is that the right product at the right price to have you buy it? So many people will pump up the cards and talk about how amazing they are. And yes, the standard player in me says I can't wait. The vintage legacy says, oh, I'm going to have some fun trying that out. That has nothing to do with how much money I'm willing to spend on this game. That has no bearing on where I want to go with my wallet. And yes, I do want the real cards. And yes, I want to support my LGS. These are all yeses and amazing things. But it's my money. I'm going to spend it the most efficient way I can, and so should you, because the Outlaws of Thunder Junction is a standard set. It's going to be around for a few years. Even with lowered, reduced production run, which is good for the game. It's good to have some cards with value. At the same time, the increased prices mean, generally speaking, less boxes get opened anyway. That double whammy of reduced print runs, reduced risk management from a whole bunch of LGS stores, players out there, and the lower overall expected value from boxes, we have a whole conundrum still facing us. Now, when you look at the cards they've given us, some are very unique and very special. They look like there'll be a lot of fun for multiple different formats. I can understand why players have a lot of interest. When they throw in things like Mana Drain, though, that's a hook, that's a teaser, that's the bait. Are you gonna bite the hook? That's bait right there going, look at the worm. Look at the worm. Look at the worm. That's all they're trying to do. To get you hooked in the idea that you can get some amazing cards. To get your crack addiction, get the cracking packing going, so you'll open a whole bunch of packs. Can't blame their marketing team. Can't blame the economic team. I'm just here to set you straight. I'm here to reason with you. To remind you that singles will be the better route to go, absolutely. But here's the real kicker. Here's the nub of it. When you look at those special treatments and all those other cards, how many players are actually looking for them? A card's utilitarian purpose in any given format is the overarching desire for that card. It's not the artwork. It's not that it's a serialized card, although those do have value to a lot of players. the actual mechanic and what that card does is what makes it special. It makes it desirable. And Wizards of the Coast has gotten away from so much of the game that they kind of forget that sometimes. They think some fancy artwork is going to make you as a player spend a whole bucket load of money getting special copies or serialized cards, which, yes, they all have their place and they're all fun. I'm not going to keep hashing out that point to you guys who don't watch that far in the video, but in my head, I just go, there's no way any of the cards I've seen would make me want to spend money at all yet. Singles, absolutely. Tons of crazy things. But as a player, as a person who speculates in Magic sometimes, dabbles with a lot of stuff, I know that these cards are going to collapse in value. I know the cards I'm interested in are not going to be the heavy-hitting cards that most people are thinking of for long term, because a lot of these cards don't connect until later. Some of these cards will look like they have holes in them or not really put together properly, and I'll talk about that during the spoiler part of the video here. But I'm looking at the cards going, there's cards I'm interested in. I would never buy these at release. I know they'll be too hyped up, but I know they'll crash down over that 90 to 120 days. And knowing that as a player and speaking to you guys and reminding you of that fact, hopefully one or two of you, just hopefully one or two of you will take that advice and recognize the little opening video, the little opening trinkets and things they do and showing all the cool artwork and concepts. And then the whole talk they did on the Twitch stream, it was interesting. I can't say it's not. I love it. I love Magic. I want to play. I want to go with the Cowboys, man. I want to try this all out. But the whole idea, the story being so weak. On a plane that's been uninhabited, there's now a vault in small towns, and it just didn't fit well for me. As well as the writing, just so overbearing. I didn't like it. So all that kind of detracted from what I was looking at, which were some good visuals on a lot of the cards. I like the ideas of some of the stories. I like the ideas of some of the things I saw. But it was just so weak that when I saw cards I thought might be useful, it just reminds me again, oh yeah, I'm just going to buy the singles here. The story wasn't that catchy. Bundle packs don't have a storybook. I'm an old fogey. There's things I like looking for in cards I don't see. I'm not going to buy them. And you shouldn't either. You shouldn't go out there. Sure, it's fun to open a couple packs and have some fun. Anyone can do that. But the days of, buying a couple of boxes for a kick on a Friday night and just opening all the packs and seeing what you get, those days are done for most players. And I want to remind you of that in case some of you guys get that idea. Now here's part of it too. We're 7 minutes in. There's one thing I found very interesting, and this whole fool's gold type thing. I call it fool's gold for this intro to the video thing, right? When I did my thumbnail. Because this isn't gold. These cards aren't going to be epic masterpieces that are going to be worth a lot of money. They're going to get reprinted. And they're trying to fool you into thinking it's special and then desirable and that you should get it. What you should be doing is looking at those cards as factual things that will fit into decks you're building on. What concept do I have for this deck that will work? What card here may fit in? Because there are cards, common, uncommons, that fit into many decks for years. Got to remember that. There are many cards that are rares that don't seem very powerful that come around again. And then there's a lot of mythics that look great, and then you realize they're garbage later, and you overpaid for nothing. Always remember that. And cards like that Mana Drain that caught so many people's attention, it'll be very hard to get, which is why it's the bait. Like many of these special guest visitor, special treatments, they are the bait to attract you to the game. It's not as if Mana Drain hasn't been reprinted quite a few times now. It's not as if it's not around in multiple different types of boxes and packs and tens of thousands of them sitting in LGS shelves right now. I did a cursory glance around here in Toronto. I could find 180 without looking that hard available to be bought. So if you need one, you don't need that special treatment, just go buy one. Save yourself the hassle of trying to get it in a collector box. There's something about it when they do it that way. When they bring things around as the attraction, the bait, the hook, bait, line, hook, and sinker. I know. But I'm looking at these products, and you got to look at it from the light of you as a consumer. Not the passion you have for the game, which can steer you off course. Look at it from the cards you need. If you need a Mana Drain, go get one. You need an Oko, Thief of Crowns or whatever, go get one. They were down to $5 for years. Why do they think it's worth more? Brazen Borrower, $6 card. Yeah, you can like that artwork, it will have certain players paying more. But most of us are like, I just need a real brazen borrower. I don't need any fancy artwork. What's the cheapest one you got in the shelf? That's what people do. Money conscious players who want to enjoy the game. Now, I've done enough ranting and raving. I can't wait. We're like 9 minutes into the video. I need you guys to know what you think about the spoilers you saw. Did you watch the Twitch stream? Does this change your mind? Because I'll tell you right now, box sales, about another 110 boxes in total. On everything I check, 110 boxes total between collector and play booster boxes and commander decks were added after seeing that spoiler season. It didn't invigorate. It didn't ignite the passion of players to have them opening up wallets for things they don't actually need yet. So because of that, it looks like this set is just a fool's errand to chase it down right now. There's lots of spoilers to still go. I'm going to cover all kinds of crazy cards, but let's get to the ones that I find at least half interesting. They're coming up right now. Just wait a second. Now, I wanted to start with a card that definitely reminds me of Imperial Seal. This is Insatiable Avarice. Now, I love the artwork, the idea of like the gemstone, kind of like a dragon's eye type thing. 1 black, just like Imperial Seal. It's a sorcery. It has spree. Choose 1 or more additional cost. Now, right away, here's the trick. +2, search your library for a card and shuffle, put that card on top. So really, this spell doesn't even work. Doesn't really work unless you pay 3. Unless you can storm and do crazy stuff, but it's going to be 3 to make this thing work. Then you can pay an additional 2 black, so that means you'd be paying 5, 3 black, 2 other, and then also you get a target player draws 3 cards and loses 3 life. So you can put the card on top, then you draw that card plus 2 other additional cards. It could be an interesting idea and concept. This card here, though, isn't going to be like some game-ending super expensive card, is it? It's going to be a $15, $20 card at start, and it's going to work its way down, but it's going to find a home in Commander because being able to tutor through your library and Commander is kind of an important thing to have around. So I like the card, but I would never buy it right off the bat. Now after that, I have to say, Plan the Heist. This is interesting. For 2 blue, 2 other, as an uncommon, it has Surveil 3. If you have no cards in hand, then draw 3 cards, which is interesting to me, okay? I like the idea though, but it also has Plot. You may pay 3 plus 1 blue, and then exile this card from your hand. Cast it as a sorcery on a later turn without paying its mana cost. So this is where we're going to get away from counter spells actually being able to stop you. It's going to make people with counter spells have to double, triple, quad check, because when these kind of cards enter into Commander and enter into other formats, you know, being able to avoid a counter spell or stack up all kinds of spells that are going to make them really have to judge what's left in your hand versus which cards you have sitting in front of them that are a threat. This is very interesting, and it stops people from making you have to lose cards later. I really think a card like this is going to have a future in Magic the Gathering. Now our next card, which is Tiny Bones Joins Up. Legendary enchantment for 1 black. When Tiny Bone joins up, enters the battlefield, any number of target players have to discard a card. So that's great in Commander. It's going to mess up a lot of people, potentially. But whenever a legendary creature enters the battlefield under your control, any number of target players each mill a card and lose a life. There are lots of ways with Mordrak and all kinds of ways of getting hundreds of copies of cards out and milling people to death. This is going to be a combo card that people need to recognize. If it isn't very expensive at the beginning when it comes out, I'd buy this one early, because I think there are all kinds of potential for cards like this to just mess people up in ways they're not going to be ready for, at least at the beginning. It's going to be played in Commander too. Just a sick card. After Tiny Bones, we have Jace Reawakened. Now it's a 2 blue Planeswalker, but very unique wording at the beginning. It says you can't cast this spell during your first, second, or third turn of the game. It says your first. Does that mean it could be somebody else's turn you cast it on? It's very weird wording. It has a +1, draw a card and discard a card. Then it's got +1. You may exile a non-land card with mana value 3 or less from your hand. If you do, it becomes plotted. Remember, to get around counterspells, kind of disgusting, right? And then -6. Until end of turn, whenever you cast a spell, copy that spell, choose new targets. Of course, using with the second ability and the third ability, this card could have some real powerhouse moves, but there's just so many ways of killing Planeswalkers right now. I think it's just too meh. But you guys let me know. How do you feel about Jace? I'm kind of curious about that. Jace! I know a lot of people want to see him dead, but he's here for now, so let's see where it goes with this. Now, there's just one more card I want to share with you guys before we end the video today. This is Fortune, the Loyal Steed. It's a 2/4, but it says when it enters the battlefield, you scry 2. It has the saddle ability, which is like a vehicle, but it says whenever Fortune attacks while saddled, at end of combat, exile it and one creature that saddled it, return them, okay, and you give return to the battlefield. The idea here is don't underestimate cards like this. Because of the scry ability and the cards you could saddle on top of this card, you might have all kinds of passive abilities just going off like just boom, 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 over and over again. I've seen this so many times in Arena where people underestimate a weaker looking creature, but that passive ability lets you set up your deck for the win later. It's just so much more important. So I don't think it'd be an expensive card, but I do expect this kind of card to see a lot of play. Well, there you have it. Some cards that I was interested in. Now, I understand there was tons of other cards, like, Vraska joins up with a whole thing where, like, you know, all these creatures are going to get Death Touch, and if they deal damage, they draw a card. Those are interesting cards in their own right, don't get me wrong. But when I look at some of those cards, I look at how easily Pick Your Poison, Farewell, how easily some of these cards will get removed versus others, and cards I think will give me a better setup for a win. A lot of times you can pick apart somebody's deck just by seeing the first couple of cards hit the battlefield. The plotted thing is going to mess people up a little bit who are playing a lot of control decks, but you need to be aware of it because it's going to be around for a few years at this point. And I can't wait to see what the rest of the spoiler season really starts shaping up like. I will put out cards I think are interesting and probably attach them into other videos. I know I don't cover spoiler season like a lot of the other content creators out there. It's just not every card grabs me. I can't get enthusiastic about every card. So I like to just keep a more rational appeal and say, I like that one, I like that one. Don't care, don't care. You know, I can get them wrong, of course, but these are cards I find interesting. It's the money thing that gets me, though, because everything they've thrown, and you think who's going to be interested, who would buy this, and why are they buying it, who would be interested in buying boxes and cracking them, and how much value do you see based on the cards I'm looking at? And that's how I take an appeal and say yes or no to any sealed box. Thanks again, guys, for hanging out. Let me know what you think about Wizards of the Coast trying to get into your wallet. Is it going to be successful? You go in the single route, or are you going to sit this one out and wait for a different set? These are things I need to know. Thanks again for stopping by the channel and hanging out with the Moxman. A reminder, if you enjoyed today's content, you liked hanging out with me, don't forget to, hit that subscribe button, turn on your notification bell, and of course, I'll see you guys tomorrow with another video. We put up new stuff every single day. Have a great day, guys. A big shout out, a thank you to all the fantastic patrons we have here on the channel supporting each and every day. Guys, because of the amazing patrons we have, we get daily uploaded content made possible. From my YouTube membership members through the amazing patrons we have on my channel, it's all because of them. So thanks again, thanks to everyone. We'll see you tomorrow with another video. I know, we're here at the end, and you're wondering, what could he possibly have to say at the end like this? Well, the artwork looks great for the most part. There's some piece that didn't appeal to me. The wording is very interesting. The plot thing is very messed up. That can mess up some counter. I think, am I reading that right? That'll mess up some counterspell decks? Ramble jamble! But either way, I can't wait to see the rest. To see how this really is going to play out. Squishing those two sets together. It's very interesting to see what they came up with. I know they don't want to admit it, right? But they've overstepped their bounds so many times that I think players, I saw the lack of surge of sales after the Twitch stream, and nothing really happened that was out of the norm. It let me know players are learning. Players are adapting. Players are bigger, better, badder, smarter than they ever were before. And I'm proud that we're not falling for that. They got to do more. They got to do a better job. They have to tell us that these are worth money to make you want to buy a collector box that says collector box, which tells you it's not collectible. They need to do more for the play booster boxes to guarantee that value long term, something in writing. And they got to do more for the players to let them know that those special cards are going to stay special, which is interesting because they won't. But they really need to, because then it would change how players feel about the investment. Not the playing side. The players are the players. But the investment side, if you want players to spend more money on expensive pieces of cardboard, you got to figure a way to make them hold value so players believe they're expensive pieces of cardboard. Anyway, thanks a lot for hanging out, guys. Thanks for being here. Have an awesome day today. And before you know it, I know. I was eating popcorn while I filmed. I got to clean my teeth after that, little popcorn seeds. But it was worth it. I'll see you guys soon. Have a great one.